Congratulations, Helldivers! You guys have completed your new major order, which was a court deal with the shenanigan that Sony is doing to the game right now. And we got ourselves a big update here. There were still some issues involved here, but we did get some good information literally a few hours ago. And of course, we're gonna go ahead and just jump into this because Sony have officially backtracked on the whole issue with Helldiver when it comes to the PSN account. And of course, we did get a tweet from them in the middle of the night, which kind of made it feel a little suspicious, but especially on a Sunday. But nonetheless, here they did post at 11 p.m. tonight. And I quote here, Helldiver fans, we are here. We heard your feedback on Helldiver 2 account linking update, the May 6th update, which would have required Steam and a PlayStation Network account linking for new player and for a current player beginning on May 30th will not move forward. We are still learning what it meant for PC player, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldiver 2, and we will keep you up to date on future plans. So yeah, pretty much right to the point here. And I gotta say, for a semi-backtracking apology, that probably like the PR-ish response I have seen over my years of covering games here. But don't get too excited here, because don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic news that Sony is no longer requiring the login, and that is great. That is fantastic, because now you don't have to worry about all of that, especially if you're someone who did not want to actually make a PSN account, like we covered in our last video about the topic, from like security, or from more of just the whole thing of being a PC gamer and just not want to deal with extra login. But yes, this settled that issue. And of course, with the way that have went, obviously, hopefully, that will be probably not long term, but hopefully a little bit of a slap in the face for Sony to not exactly deal with, of course, the PC side of gaming, because PC players can get very aggressive very quickly. Well, of course, console players are like, we bitch and moan all the time, but let's be honest, PC players are a little more aggressive. If you cannot tell by, of course, the reviews over on Steam at the time of this video, it is still mostly negative, with, of course, 280,000 players leaving a negative review on the game. To put that in effect, when it comes to the overall community who play on Steam, there was a all-time peak for it on Steam of 458,000. So if this number to go by for the peak, you can see how at the highest this is almost 50% of the player base over on Steam. And of course, this also counting in the whole thing of the game being now out for 3 months. And you still have, and it could be any higher than 50% of your player base pretty much just telling you to screw right off. And of course, good job all of you who took part in that, who picked up the major order from, of course, the devs, because the CEO was very much promoting over on the Discord channel for people to review bomb, to send a message. So good job on that. But there are still a few issues that are going to come into play here. Is, of course, no matter how good this is, and of course how good it is for Sony to be backtracking on that, we do have a problem that we need to have a real discussion about. Is, of course, earlier today at the time of the video, before they ended up announcing this going back, Sony did end up region locking the game and removing over 160 countries from being able to play it. If the game was already available there for people to download and to buy. And of course, most of the people have bought the game in the region, since it's just such a law region. And of course, we do have a little bit of a breakdown here of course all the countries here that was affected from this. So as of now, Sony have not said anything about backtracking on the region lock, which in return, it's still extremely crappy here for the player base. because going by like numbers and stats and whatnot for like the region, it seemed to be wobbly fluctuating at about 30% of the player base is affected by this region lock that have went into effect. So on one hand, is it still super horrible? But on the other hand, will Sony will actually do anything with this? The thing that made me feel a little less hopeful in this case is with Sony full on bringing in the region lock a couple hours on, I get technically you could say maybe 25-30 hours in advance before backtracking, which in return all the players that was in the region that ended up buying a game. As of now, it seemed like only a little bit of the player base have gotten the money back. Can't exactly verify at the moment if it mainly the people that have been refunded is in this, or what the percentage of the people that did get refunded live in the regions. I'm not 100% for sure on that, but as of now, if you try to refund the game, of course, with this situation and how Helldivers is, especially since the majority of the player base have played longer than the 2 hours that Steam usually go by for the type of refunds, there's no guarantee that every single player will get a refund. And in return, this is just, Sony once again just releasing the game, taking the money and running off with it and leaving the player base themselves screwed out of however much money they end up spending. Might it be from regional to buy it on Steam, right along with microtransactions as well. So this is still a very, very big thing, and honestly, it still overall feels like it was Sony plan to begin with, since if it was always going to be a thing at far of region locking the game and blocking them from the countries, ideally they should have literally region lock it from the get-go on release, but they did not, and they let it continue building up over the last 3 months. So as you can see, this whole thing is still overly shady when it comes to a Sony response here. So yes, this is still something to celebrate that Sony is backtracking on this, but at the same time, Sony is only backtracking about halfway as of now. So there's still plenty of Helldivers out there that being affected by all of this. So this is one step forward. So we will see if Sony will continue to just be a little bubble with, of course, the countries that are able to play it not needing the PSN account, or will they fully go back to the way the game was before all that went into play? And of course, I will keep you guys updated on this as we get more and more update. Here, hoping that Sony will just full on restore the game back to what it was. And of course, if they do want to do the PSN login, have it completely optional, and in return, also treat it like many other games in the past that have done similar thing, with a course linking and giving some type of rewards, such as like a God of War skin for your character or something. So once again, this is still evolving because it was posted in the middle of tonight. So we will see what comes of this. As soon as we find out one way or another, we will go ahead and report on this, letting you guys know if Sony just pretty much leaving out, 30+% of the player base to dry and to rob them blind, or is everybody going to be able to hop back in and play Helldivers if they see fit? Because once again, the deal, no matter how you want to look at this, any if they get fully fixed, this is a pretty decent chunk of the community that will no longer take part in this. So because they fix it doesn't mean this is going to be good for the community at all. But once again, I will go ahead, keep an eye on the game, let you guys know what is happening, and see how many people come back and if Sony fully backtrack. But nonetheless, that was happening with the Helldivers situation here. So if you want to keep up with everything that is happening, because I know you do, make sure to thumbs up, subscribe, hit all the bells, and hopefully we will be back for something a little more hopeful, such as Sony backtracking fully, or maybe something else hopeful. But for the time being, that is what's going on when it comes to all the Helldivers out there. So good job on completing the fourth part of the major order. Now we need to keep pushing, and hopefully Sony will retract everything they have done. And we can go back to the way Helldiver was not even a week ago. So, with that, let me know in the comment how you feeling about this. Is it going to actually allow you to hop back? And of course, let me know below if you are in one of the 160 regions that are being affected by that. Let me know below. And of course, like always, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.